Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Today, May the 16th, marks the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now that's going to play into a topic that we're going to cover later in the video, but today we've got a tidbit for Obi-Wan Kenobi, so no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into the news. So just as we covered Hayden's comments in yesterday's video, we've now got some new information from Ewan. He began by giving praise to Alec Guinness, and he said that every time he's acted as Obi-Wan, he thinks of how Alec would deliver that line, and he also added, this applies to some of the more memeable lines from the prequels, such as another happy landing and hello there. And now that Ewan is closer in age to Guinness's portrayal in 1977, he actively tries to embody the original essence of the character and channel him. And you know what, it's really sweet to hear Ewan say this, and in many ways, especially continuity-wise, Ewan's performance in the Kenobi show will morph into the performance of Sir Alec when you go back and rewatch everything chronologically. And so then, Ewan talked about the point in the timeline that we're dealing with in this show. He's dropped hints of this many times in the past, but now again, he's reinforced the idea of the impact Order 66 had on the galaxy and how certain survivors are still out there. Now, while this is obvious information, we know that from the Making Star Wars leaks, Benny Safdie's character Nari is one of these survivors that we're going to see, but it begs the question of who else, whether in flashbacks or present day. And it could be as simple as a reference. Something that came to mind this morning is that Vader at this point has Ahsoka's lightsaber. And while I'm not suggesting we're going to see Ahsoka in this show, we did see some lightsabers as an Easter egg in the Kenobi trailer, and this might be just a little nod towards the fact we might see some bigger Easter eggs, ones that are very familiar. Now, the leaks say that Nari is going to be the main survivor we see, but if we are in for surprises nobody knew about, I wonder if this comment in Ewan's interview connects to his other comments earlier in the week that hint at a Fallen Order connection. As much as I doubt it's going to happen, a Cal Kestis cameo would be jaw-dropping, and the perfect way to market the upcoming sequel to Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. But as I say guys, extremely unlikely. And even if we don't necessarily see any other survivors of the Great Jedi Purge, they might be referenced in subtle ways, and even a passing mention does a lot of good for the world building. Ewan also discusses how much easier it is to use the volume, especially when compared to the blue screens and green screens that George Lucas used for the prequels, and one specific memory that he brings up that made me chuckle was working on episode 2 during the Kamino scenes. In his own words he said, that was the main challenge of the prequels, especially episodes 2 and 3. I spent a lot of time on my own, acting off into a tennis ball on a stick. In episode 2 when I'm walking around with the aliens, I forget what they're called, the ones with the long necks, and he's referring of course to the Kaminoans. Now obviously this has no implication on the show whatsoever, Poker City is gone, but I just wanted to mention this part of the interview because it was so nostalgic to hear Ewan reminisce about the prequels and that specific memory. And of course the main point that he's making here is how much the technology has evolved ever since 2002, 2005, and for him, the Kenobi series was a less isolating experience than the prequels, and it had so much more personal engagement and feeling like you're a part of your surroundings with the volume instead of having to imagine everything with a sea of blue screens around you, so it's really refreshing for him. So those are pretty much the highlights from this interview, and now my dear friends, we're just 11 days away. Now there's been a bit of a mixed reaction concerning some of the leaks. Some fans are a bit apprehensive and they do make some valid points, but my take on the issue is to just wait and see. I'm not going to jump the gun and scrutinize it before it's even out. To me, just based on the leaks themselves, it sounds like a really solid self-contained story. Some aspects I will admit I love more than others, and I might be in the minority, and big spoiler warning, I love the part where Vader is going to enact his revenge, very similar to Jedi Fallen Order. But as for the implications of the ending where Luke is supposedly going to see Reva's lightsaber and she almost threatens his life, I'm going to withhold all judgment until I see how it's pulled off. We can't underestimate the power of directing, and while some people have opinions right now, they might feel differently when they actually see it. So I'm not going to criticize, I'm going to take the cautiously optimistic route, the let's wait and see approach. So I just wanted to address that, but with that said my dear friends, let me know how you're feeling just 11 days out in the comments down below. Also, what did you make of Ewan's comments, and are you excited for his big return? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg, have a good one.